It's your girl, Lady Mocha. And you know I'm going to always pour you a cup of truth, and I'm going to always break you off with a slice of knowledge. Hello and good afternoon. It is your Diva and Knowledge, Lady Mocha, here at Cafe de Paris, where you know I'm always serving you the best recipes with the ingredients of wisdom and knowledge and spiritual awareness. So I want to thank all of you for stopping by to dine out with me and have a little brunch with me this afternoon. But on that note, I thought it was imperative that I would jump into this new recipe right away because one of our Wakanda brothers is catching a lot of heat from the sisters out there, and he's an actor by the name of Michael B. Jordan. I retrieved this information from MediaTakeout.com. It's somewhat of a reliable source, but basically he posted on Instagram a picture of himself with his supposedly white girlfriend. And of course, a lot of the sisters chimed in, honey. They went in on him real hard. You know how black women do, honey. When we start seeing one of our, brothers who, especially these ones who got these, significant roles as far as playing this black man, this strong Nubian brother, this black king, and apparently because of the characters that he has represented himself to be on a lot of these shows as this, you know, defiant black man, this brother, this African American king, unfortunately, a lot of women, black women, are really coming in on him pretty hard. Once he posted this picture of his model girlfriend by the name of Ashlyn Castro. I'm sure she's mixed with something. I'm not sure her nationality, but basically she's white. Okay, we know this much. She's not black. I don't know if she's Arabian. I don't know what her nationality is. I apologize if I'm giving her a nationality that is not hers, but I don't know her nationality at all. But basically he went posting pictures on his Instagram account of him and his white girlfriend together. And honey, the sisters lost it, okay? They felt like the brother was definitely in a sunken place, all right? So he caught basically a lot of heat, And I realized the reason why he's probably catching so much heat because for the fact that he has all of these roles in Hollywood as this black man, okay? The most popular role he did was recently Black Panther, when he played as a rival against the main character, the Black Panther, the guy was played by Chad Boswick or whatever. So basically he's in this black film, being this black villain, and with a black cast, so of course a lot of these black women went chiming in on this man. I mean, they went at him hard, and I remember Michael B. Jordan from way back in the day when he was on The Wire, so he's been in the game for a very long time. I remember he was probably maybe 13, 14. He was real young when he was in The Wire, which is one of my favorite series still to this day. And I still love The Wire. They don't make gritty series like they used to. I like that those type of shows. I wish they would come out with more shows like The Wire, The Corner, showing you the real gritty streets. I love stuff like that. But anyway, so he's been in the game for a while, okay? He's not the only brother this week who's been catching some slack. Singer Childish Gambino, he's known for doing the popular single that blew up called Redbone, basically. So um he also, what had these roles as this straight up black brother. He played in the series Atlanta as a struggling wannabe artist, and basically all of the songs he did was pertaining to, especially when he did the single Redbone, is pertaining to black women. I mean, I don't know what other complexion he could have been talking about when he spoke about when the song was labeled Redbone, okay? So basically, he presented this image that I'm this black man like black women, and then all of a sudden, MediaTakeout.com catches him in the street with his super white wife. I mean, she white. I mean, Clorox bleach white, okay? And he's basically strolling the streets with her with his two little mixed babies. And I was like, oh, damn, okay. Wow, you know what I mean? And, this is not to say I got anything against interracial dating. I feel like whoever you love, whoever you connect with, there's no color when it comes to love. There just isn't. I don't care if you connect with somebody that's Japanese, Korean, Puerto Rican, whatever. You love who you love, and that's just the bottom line. I can't stereotype. I can't feel some type of way about another black woman choosing to date a white woman. I can't feel some type of way if a black woman chooses to date a white man. If she loves him, they are connecting, they on the same page. You can't do nothing with your heart. Once your heart connects with somebody, that's just it. You know what I mean? So I get it, So I'm not one of these straight pro blacks. I mean, I understand we're in a world where nobody plays by the rules anymore. Yes, back in the 50s, 60s, you had to stick with your own kind, you had to stick with your own color. They didn't play the stuff that the society does today. It was not allowed back then in the 50s and 60s. Men wasn't allowed to be with other men. Women wasn't allowed to be with other women. White women wasn't allowed to be with black men. Black women was not allowed to be with white men. But all the dynamics have changed, which is a good thing, I would say, because sometimes, when we are confined to doing what the world wants us to do, that's how, a lot of us can become miserable trying to fit in with what society wants, with how society has placed a stipulation on how we should be as a man or a woman. So I think it's cool that we're able to evolve and change and really be able to be ourselves and stuff. So, again, I don't knock um people's taste. I don't knock if they I don't knock people's sexual preference. I don't knock people's preference as far as what they consider as a good companion. So it is what it is. But basically, this is the reason why I am doing this video, okay? This is for my sisters out here, all right? I get it, we don't have as many choices, so we feel that we don't, and I get that a lot of us feel like we're always put in the background, we're always on the bottom of the shelf, and it seems like brothers are going after everybody else but us, So I mean, I will confess, I felt like that once upon a time. I remember when I was living in Ledrick, Connecticut, and when I tell you, honey, it was nothing but I'll call it checkerboard town, because I mean it was nothing but no chess town. Yeah, chess, because what I think with chess the colors are black and white. With checkers, I think the colors are red and black. Anyway, but y'all get what I'm saying. The town was just black, white, white, black, black, white, white, black. I mean, there were brothers was not checking for I was living at. Okay, that's all I saw, and it was very discouraging. And even when I went to the movies, that's all I saw. Even when I went out to the grocery store, that's all I saw. The area that I lived in at that time was predominantly a lot of interracial couples. And it was very discouraging for me. And at that point in time, I can't speak for why the other sisters have a problem with it. But for me, I felt some type of way because I didn't have somebody. So it made me feel bad in a sense, like, okay, this black guy who's dealing with this white woman, that potentially could have been somebody that I could have connected with. But the truth of the matter is, you would be surprised, just because you see a black guy with a white woman. There's no need for you to feel some type of way, because you would be surprised if he wasn't even with that white woman and you and him decide to go out or kick it or have drinks. You'll be surprised that just because the both of y'all are black, that don't mean y'all would have connected. I mean, I've met plenty of black guys before I got with my husband. I've never dated outside of my race. Not that I would not have been willing to. I had some white chocolate here and there that that I was talking to, but it just never went any further than what it did. But you'll be surprised that just because another man is black, that don't mean y'all would have connected. So a lot of us sisters don't need to be in our feelings because we see a guy with a white woman, because even if he wasn't with her, that don't mean y'all would have connected. I've met plenty of black men that I did not connect with before I met my husband. So once brothers climb the ladder, they, they want to get something is perceived that way. But a lot of it has to do with time and place. Sometimes when brothers get there or whatever, they go to these conferences, they're around all of these white women or women of other races and stuff, and they're exposed to that the majority of the time, and they so happen to interact with one that, and it grows into something more than what it is. Then that's just what happens. And then in some cases, there has been white women who have been with that black brother when he was down, when he didn't have anything, like Amari Hardwick from Power. He's a very handsome, gorgeous black man, and he has a white woman. And when everybody saw his wife, they went in on him really bad too, because she's not the Vanna White type. I mean, a white woman, look very basic to me. She's a pretty woman, but everybody else, because of his blackness and his handsomeness, they just felt like he downgraded, not understanding that that woman was with him when he didn't have anything, when he was not always this big, big actor that we know of as Ghost on Power. Back in the day, he was just plain broke Amari, and his white wife was with him throughout those course of years. You know what I mean? Um, when he was down to nothing, when he wasn't popular, he wasn't popping. Nobody knew of them. So, with all due respect, a lot of times we want to come in on these white women when the majority, some of them was with these brothers when they didn't have nothing. I mean, would you have been there? Had Amari been working at Popeyes, had he been, working at Salvation Army, pushing around clothes, in carts, you wouldn't have given him the time of day. I mean, and it's not to side with the brothers, but I'm just trying to I'm just trying to give us sisters another way of looking at things, and it's just that I think it's too many black sisters. We taking it too personal when we see brothers going the other side. And what we have to realize is that just because that's who you see them with, it does not mean they're not attracted to black women. It doesn't mean that they still don't look at black women. They just so happen connected with a woman of a different race. No different. I mean, than you black women, you may find a white guy that you may, or not just white, any guy outside of the black race, you may find out that you connect with him a little bit better than your own kind. So people have to get rid of these stereotypes, and that's how you miss out on your blessings, when you decide you want to stay in one box because that's what's the most comfortable for you. You know what I mean? And sometimes you miss out on your blessings. You want to stick with this particular category because that's where you feel comfortable. Let me tell you something. Familiarity doesn't always mean that's what's going to work for you. Just because that's what you're familiar with, just because that's all you know, that don't mean it's going to work for you. Sometimes you got to step outside the box. And sisters, y'all have the right to do that too. Y'all have the right to do that. Y'all don't have to just be stagnant. Y'all have the right to go out and date other races and date other whatever you choose. But this is my point, because I know I'm digressing. Like I said, with the Michael B. Jordan, the actor, like I said, he caught a lot of heat once he posted this picture of him with his white girlfriend, and Sisters lost it. And the same thing with 𝐜𝐴T𝐚'𝐬, and it's been a lot of black actors. But you have to realize too, at the end of the day, to my sisters out there, these white women, they go through it. They not exempt to the rules. They go through it just like we do. Okay. And so it don't matter. There's no reason for you to feel some type of way if you walking down the street and you see this handsome Nubian king, holding hands with this Brady Bunch broad. Oh, forgive me. I'm having some fun with this. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to soften the mood because people get real offended about topics like this. So forgive me. But anyway, you see him walking with this Brady Brunch broad, and you automatically gonna feel some type of way, not understanding that you don't know what the hell she goes through behind closed doors with him. Okay, you don't know if she got to deal with him hoeing on her. He's not. He has a problem with, you know, keeping his penis in his pants. You just don't know. Because at the end of the day, every relationship has problems. It's gonna always be something you got to deal with. Either that you're gonna either deal with a man that still has hoish tendencies, or you're gonna have to deal with a man who don't know how to manage money. You're gonna have to end up dealing with a man who drank too damn much. You're gonna end up dealing with a man that, got too many goddamn kids. It's just gonna be something to deal with, and it's no different from guys. You're not gonna get the perfect wife. Care how fine she is, she may be drop dead gorgeous, but she may be, with all those looks, she's a woman who's had a rough past, who done came up molested, who done came up in an abusive home. Or you may deal with a woman who, because she made poor choices during her youth, she has a bunch of goddamn kids from all kind of random men. Or you may deal with a woman who's highly educated and don't have any children, don't have no baggage, but she's a bitch. It's just it's gonna be stuff you're gonna deal with. So, it's no difference than Tay Diggs. I remember the actor Tay Diggs. He was with his, white wife for years. I mean, he used to brag on her. She used to brag on him. And she couldn't deal with she couldn't deal with his black ass no more. She ended up divorcing him. Because it goes to show, it don't matter. Black woman, white woman. At the end of the day, we all going through something with these men, okay? So it's no need to feel some type of way. She couldn't even deal with him, okay? As much as he used to brag on his white wife and all this, that white sister, because I consider white women my sisters too. They just from a different, of course, they just from a, they got different, they come from different walks of life compared to what us black women go through. But a woman is a woman. She couldn't deal with his ass no more. She left him. you know, Same thing with Terrence Howard, the dude that plays on Empire as Lucius. You know, 2, 3 women outside of the race done left him. He never been with a sister, but I'm sure he probably did go black women. I don't want to say, I can't say he ain't never been with one because I don't know a person like that. But I'm saying he done dated several women outside his race, and every last one of them done left him. Some men are a piece of work. It don't matter what color woman they get. Some women are just some men are hard to deal with. No different than Tiger Woods. Elon left him because his black ass could not keep his penis from out of other women. She left him. So I say all that to say this. It does not matter. We don't need to be hating on the next woman. She going through something too. Trust and believe. And as I said, you're not going to know till the grits hit the fan. Look how long Tina Turner held it down for years. That Ike was taking her through all kind of stuff. She went through years of that. Back in that current time, if you was a fan in the audience and watching them perform on stage, you just thought they was this perfect, wholesome, talented couple. Okay? Not realizing behind closed doors, this woman was suffering. He was beating on her. He was home with half of the groupies that was on tour. He was messing with half of the dancers. I mean, she went through a lot with him, but it took years later for her to express that truth. At that point in time, she didn't fess up to any of that stuff because a lot of women, unfortunately, you have a lot of women, especially in the celebrity world, they're more concerned with their image than they are with their reality. They're going to walk the red carpets and smile and hold their heads up and act like everything's peachy keen. And you won't know it till 5, 6, 7 years later till they had enough of the bullshit. Now they're ready to expose all the truth. Kind of like what 𝐜𝐴T𝐚'𝐬 did with Nas. There's a lot of women in the celebrity world who are going through behind closed doors because we see them And this is just an example, because I don't know Jay-Z and I don't know Beyonce like that. But when we see Jay-Z and Beyonce together, we see them as Jay-Z and Beyonce. But behind closed doors, Beyonce sees Jay-Z as Sean Carter, and he sees her as Beyonce Giselle. They know the real in-depth inside of each other. All we know is what they present on the red carpet. You get what I'm saying? But behind closed doors, everybody got to deal with the real individual. All we know is what they stand for. We just know them as the rapper. We know them as the singer. We know them as the athlete. But behind closed doors, they're regular people with regular problems. And a lot of times people don't want to come out with stuff until they feel like they relationship and the marriage is on the line, because for the longest, like with Jay-Z and Beyonce, he was very private. He never, both of them was tight-lipped. If they had a bad day, if they did have issues in their marriage, you would never ever even know it. But what happens is when you start going through so much turmoil, slowly but surely stuff start leaking out. You can't pretend but for so long that everything's great. I remember the singer Babyface, who was married to Tracy Edmonds for years. You know, I remember, because they've been divorced. He's been remarried, and I think she's still with Deion Sanders. I'm assuming that's who she's with, and she was with Eddie Murphy, so she traveled around a lot. Why Babyface just been with her same been with his same wife. I don't know what it is. It seems like when a man and a woman separate, a man can just lock in. Women, it take them a while. They got to go through 3, 4 guys. By the time they find somebody and lock them in, it's just always been like that. Men could always get relationships just like that. Women, we struggle for some reason. But anyway, even he said during one of his interviews, because they've been together for so many years, and people were just wondering what happened, for him and Tracy Edmonds to just really call it quits. And he said it, and I can respect him for saying this. He said it just comes a point where you get tired of pretending. You get tired of pretending. And a lot of these relationships are falsified. And it's not just with celebrities, it's people that you hang around. It's people in your own family who falsify, acting like they got such a perfect marriage, they got such a perfect relationship, but behind closed doors, they just as miserable as all outdoors. But this is the other point I wanted to make. Basically, back to Michael B. Jordan and Childish Gambino and all these other brothers who have decided to, go on the other side. A lot of these sisters, y'all don't need to be getting upset or whatever, and y'all are taking it way too personal, because these brothers, these athletes, these rappers, these singers, you feel like because they play these roles in the movies as these black real urban brothers, these urban kings. You may even see them in movies, see them on videos, grabbing up on black women and filling up on black women. You're gonna see all of this. You'll see these same brothers even do songs, even some of these singers, these rappers. They will rap about how much they like black women and rap about how they like our big butts, our big all this, and then you turn around and one day you catch him on the red carpet with Wilhelmina, okay, with Becky, okay. You catch him on the red carpet, and then you feel some type of way, like, huh? Because it's the truth of the matter. All they're doing is they are acting, okay? The way a brother acts on his TV shows or the screen has nothing to do with his personal life. Just because you see a black man on shows and in movies with black women, kissing black women, making out with black women, that's all you see him do on the movies. That don't mean that's how he really is in real life. Same thing with these athletes, these rappers. It's a lot of these athletes and rappers, especially rappers who are married men and talk about being players. Talk about, I like to be with this kind of girl, that I like to hit this girl off. And then, you know how them guys be rapping in their rap lyrics, like they this player. But behind closed doors, they are married men. They're family men. LL Cool J did it for years. LL Cool J always, came off as this sex symbol. He really ever talked about being married and in his songs. So when women would run into LL Cool J, they automatically, chiming in on him like he's really the single man. This is a single man. And LL Cool is even a grandfather now. Okay. And what I do like about LL Cool J, when he made it big, he had the same wife with him who never left his side, even when she had all her medical conditions. Because I remember she was going through with cancer and everything. His wife name is Simone. And I really appreciate the fact that, you know, even when she was down at her lowest point, he never left her side. You could tell he genuinely loved her. And he didn't allow his fame, his success to leave her by the wayside. And that's what I respect. I respect any man. I don't care if your wife is white or black. You with the same woman that was with you when you had nothing. And as soon as you God blesses you to be in a better position, and you take that same woman with you so she can enjoy the benefits of your labor because she was there with you during your struggles. Now, that is what I'm talking about. I could commend a man on any level like that because I feel like if a woman don't rock with you when you had nothing, she should be the one to enjoy the blessings when you get there. And that's just my personal opinion. I don't care if she's black or I don't care if she's white. The fact that she was a down ass chick and she supported you when you had nothing. I have a problem with those who pulled the Jeremy Meeks. You know, when a woman stood by you, waited on you to get your stuff together, and as soon as you get it together, you go and you put somebody else on who ain't went through nothing. That burns me. Oh my gosh. That to me, that's just straight up betrayal. And same thing with you women. You know, when you was down and out and didn't have nothing, and a brother stood by you, help you raise your kids that ain't even his, and all this and that, and you start shining on the brother and talking to him all kind of way and making it seem like you a blessing to him, like he wasn't a blessing to you. You got some nerves. I mean, you got some sisters who do that. You know, the highest bidder come along, they'll walk off and leave the man who was with them when they didn't have nothing. And I just think that is so uncool. But see, you got to deal with what's called karma. And karma has everybody as dressed. So you got to be careful when you pull stunts like that because it always comes back to haunt you. You feel me? So, again, to my sisters, do not get mesmerized by the fantasy of these men. Because at the end of the day, 9 times out of 10, their their professions or the way they perceive themselves to be, in the Hollywood world, behind closed doors is totally different. Just because a man sings about, and that's how a lot of women get disappointed, just because a man sings like he's all about romance and this and that. I mean, I remember Jagged Edge, the group Jagged Edge, they do a lot of love songs, beautiful love songs, I might add. And one of the group members in this group was beating the hell out of his wife. I'm like, you singing all these beautiful love songs, but behind closed doors, you pulling the damn you Ike Turner and your wife, you know what I mean, beating on her and fighting her. That's how a lot of women get fooled. That's how a lot of these women get messed up in the world of stardom. A lot of, because you got to realize some of these women, if they wasn't already with them before they got big, some of these women come into these men's lives when they're already big. So sometimes when these women date or marry these celebrities and they wasn't with them before the stardom, they wasn't with them before the success, they are going in it like the average woman is looking in it. They going in it as, oh, I'm going to be married to this star. I'm going to be married to this rapper. I'm going to be, I'm going to have a child from this athlete. And behind closed doors, you find out this man's persona as to what he is as an athlete, as to what he is as a rapper, as to whatever he is, whatever his stardom, his celebrity status is, behind closed doors, he's nothing like the man he presents himself to be. Nothing like that. And I'm sure it's the same thing with women. I've seen Holly Berry. Holly Berry has gone through numerous relationships. I mean, on these shows and all these movies, she's like this strong black woman who's confident. I remember when Holly Berry was in the movie Strictly Business. That's one of my favorite movies to this day. She was this confident, beautiful, charismatic, woman who's strong and bold, and behind closed doors, from what all her husbands, ex-husbands, and baby daddies are saying, they say she's psycho. She's psychotic. She's clingy. She's overly emotional. I'm telling you. In other words, what you see is not okay. Ladies, just because you see these guys play these black hero roles, you see them Childish Gambino just came out with this, and through all that, he has, and he's got just some heat right now. I just don't. Women just don't get hooked on these fantasies of who these men present themselves to be in the Hollywood world behind closed doors. He's probably the total opposite of what his music represents, of what his stardom, his popularity represents. He's the total opposite of that. I mean, we don't heard T.I., talk about, being a player. Some of his songs, he done rapped about being a player, done rapped about this woman, that woman. And he's been married to Tiny like forever. You know what I mean? So you don't need to chime in on these brothers. Don't go in so hard on these brothers, because they got these, they give you this presentation of one thing, and then you see something else outside of that. You coming in on Instagram when you see them posting pictures, or that's not even necessary. It's called acting, okay? No different than a rapper rapping about being a player and he got a wife, or it's just people just it's Hollywood. It's Hollywood. And one thing about Hollywood is nothing but a big facade. It's always has been. People who have been in the industry could tell you some real stories. You know what I'm saying? You every now and then you may have a brother or sister who will only stick with, they will not allow Hollywood to change them but so much. Like, for example, Denzel Washington, he's been with his black wife for years, and he has had roles in which, they wanted him to do with white women and this and that and everything. And he said, that I'm not going to do. I'm not going to, I've seen scenes where he would kiss or he would hug up on a white woman, something like that, but you never really seen him do roles where, he's like pounding on a woman, or what I mean. He just doesn't do that, because he's smart enough to know that a lot of his fans see him as a strong black man, and he knows if he plays a certain role, it's going to tarnish that. But some of these young bucks like Michael B. Jordan and stuff, they don't know how to look that deep and realize that if you want a relationship, but at the same time you want to keep your stardom status, you got to balance that out. You don't want to pick roles that are completely the opposite of you, because it throws your fans off. You know what I mean? So that's why you have some rappers and some athletes, they won't even say they're married. They won't even say they have a girlfriend or whatever, because they know part of their sales and part of their popularity is from the perception of them not having anyone. That's what's helping them to build those credentials. I mean, for years, we didn't know R. Kelly had a wife. You know, for years, we didn't even know Keith Sweat was married to Lisa Wu. I mean, these men, they were smart enough to know that if I want to be in this game for some years, I can't sit up here and let people see too much of the real me. So that's basically the point. I hope what I'm saying to y'all is making perfect sense. But I just want my sisters to please stop writing these brothers about their white wives, about their white girlfriends, honey. If you was to be with him, you probably would be glad to give him to her, okay? Because color don't always mean there's a connection, okay? That's basically what I'm saying. The same thing for you brothers. You can't feel some type of way. You see these beautiful, black, gorgeous women going for these older white men and all this other stuff. I mean, that's probably the only people she could really connect with. You dealt with it for 5 minutes, you probably wouldn't be able to stomach dinner with her. You probably wouldn't even want to call her ass to meet out for Starbucks no goddamn more. It is what it is. It's all about connection. You cannot fall up behind this Hollywood smokescreen personas, because it is not real. So for all of my sisters, please lay off of these brothers who got white wives and all of this other stuff, honey, because a lot of it, I know a lot of it comes from the fact when we don't have someone, we look at it like that's somebody that I could have possibly had a connection with. Not necessarily, honey. Not necessarily. Okay. All right. Just pray and ask God to give you spiritual discernment so you will make better choices, and, possibly getting a good mate regardless of his color, his status, or whatever the case may be. And another problem is that women, we will stop being so choosy. We have our own perception of what we think is good for us. And a lot of times what's good to you, may seem good to you, is not always good for you. Okay, just because this man has money, has a nice car, has a nice apartment, and your mind, you think that's who you need to be with. When in actuality, God may want you to be with a brother that's not on that status. He may want you to be with a brother that you have to help build and build up. That way, y'all both could become a blessing to each other. And the same thing for you men. You want a certain type of woman. She got to look good on your arm. She got to be arm candy. You don't want this plain Jane, or you don't want this large woman, or whatever the case is, but you'll be surprised. If you put your stereotypical images to the side and allow God to bless you with a woman, and not that may not be your idea of what you think she should be, that may be the very woman that you may end up connecting with really well. So just on that note, I want to thank everybody for tuning in and rocking out with me here at Cafe de Paris. It is your girl, Lady Mocha, and please comment on this. Let me know, what do y'all feel about this? Do y'all think sisters are really going overboard with coming in on these black actors and these black athletes because they see them with white women and women outside of their race? What do y'all think about that? And you brothers, how do you feel about these women, you know, who are getting so upset about things like this? And what do you think about these celebrity women who may look good, who may play the part, but behind closed doors may be a goddamn nutcase? I would like to get all of y'all feedback on that, okay? On that note, it's your girl, Lady Mocha, and I want to thank y'all for tuning in at Cafe de Paris. And remember, I'm going to always pour you a cup of truth and break you off a slice of knowledge. Don't forget to like and subscribe, okay? And share the video. Facebook it, Twitter it, whatever you got to do. Get them subscribers up for me, y'all. I appreciate it. Y'all have a wonderful day. I will talk to y'all later, and y'all be blessed. Bye.